We're back with Dan Perkins, our financial advisor, that's explaining to us everything about investing.
I wish.
And you know, I'll tell you what, there's a lot of women, and I'm just going to just say this,
Okay.
that who are married, that basically there are some women that are the investment people in the family, and there's some
Rarely.
Well, I'm not sure.
I am.
And then there's some that are not, like
Right.
myself. Okay, but the older I get, the more I want to know, the more I want to learn. Not that I would outlive my husband, but I want to be smart enough to know what's going on. I really think, and I see a lot of schools doing this, I think it should be taught in school. I think you should be able to balance a budget by the time you're out of 8th grade. I really believe that because I'm seeing, no, wrong, because I'm seeing 13 and 14-year-olds that are starting businesses today.
Sure.
Believe it or not.
I do.
You're never too young to learn, I don't think. And if you're good at math, you know, and there's QuickBooks and there's lots of other things. But I really believe that if we knew what we were doing and understood with who we were working with, then we'd really understand it. What is a mutual fund? Let's just get that right off.
Well, I'll answer the mutual fund, but I want to go back to your other comment about women. In 40 plus years of practice,
Right.
the vast majority of the couples that I have of clients for the last 40 years, the husband is the designated investor.
Why?
Because for most of those households, the husband was the principal source of income for the house.
Big deal.
I understand that. I'm just saying that the husband has always been, even back when I was growing up, my father wrote the checks, you know,
Right.
and whatever investments he made them.
You have to live with that, though. And if they don't invest wisely, or they make mistakes there, then the wife says, "Why did you do that?"
Actually, that may be true in some cases, but in most cases, the wife doesn't know what he's done.
What do you mean, doesn't know?
They don't know. They don't look at statements. They don't understand how much money you've made or lost. Women inherently are much more conservative about taking risk with money than men. I've seen it everything for 40 years. Women are not risk takers in the market. That doesn't say that men are necessarily better risk takers than women. It's just that they seem to be more comfortable with taking risk whether they know anything about it or not.
Well, here's the deal. If you know more, then you'll be able to invest wisely. Am I correct?
Well, if you know more, but you know that's a tough thing to say, because know more about what?
Educated in the investment game.
Well, that's a start, Kathryn, but you have to understand.
But if you have somebody that's like you that can teach you,
yes,
step 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or whatever
Right.
it is, and understand, what the different investment and money, and things to invest in, then it makes sense. If I know that just to give you an example, when Apple first started, right? I would have loved to had money in Apple.
Sure.
Or I would have loved to had maybe a few penny stocks that eventually became whatever.
Skyline Chili.
Right, Skyline Chili. Look at that. Can you believe that? But a lot of people don't know the differences between a financial planner, a broker, or a financial advisor.
Right.
And I know that you're going to give us what they mean.
Right.
Who are they?
They perform different functions. The problem for most people, Kathryn, is they don't understand what each of those functions really does. Let's start with the simplest, the broker. The broker is the person that you go to buy and sell stocks or mutual funds or bonds or real estate investment trusts or whatever. Their job is to execute an order, a transaction, and they get paid a fee for every time they sell and every time they buy. In many states, they are not permitted under state statute to give investment advice. They can only execute transactions.
Okay.
So, but a lot of people put a lot of stock that brokers know what they're doing in terms of trying to figure out where your money should go. And really, in reality, Kathryn, That's the first decision that one has to make. What do you want your money to do? Forget about mutual funds or stocks or bonds or real estate investment trusts or limited partnerships or anything else. The first decision that a person has to make is, what am I investing for? Is it retirement? Is it college for my children? Is it a new car, a boat, a house? What is it that you're investing for? You have to, once you establish a goal and the duration of the goal, then the broker can execute the trade for you if you decide what you want to buy. Financial planners, on the other hand, they provide a service that helps you figure out, okay, you've got a goal, and you want to put money away for your children or grandchildren for college. And they might recommend a 529 plan or a uniform gift to minors account where you could set money aside. They may recommend that you need to look at your life insurance, or you might need a will or a trust, or maybe you should have long-term care insurance. Now, think about a financial plan like your black notebook that you have on your lap.
Right.
He draws it up. He tells you what you should do. He presents the book and the bill.
And the bill.
Right. And then, in many cases, you have to take the book and figure out how to execute all the stuff. That's why a lot of people in my business call financial planning books coffee table books.
Because they don't do it?
It sits on the coffee table and we'll get to it someday.
Right.
So there's no, in many cases, there's nobody to push you to work with the attorney to get the will, buy the life insurance, buy the long-term care, buy liability insurance, and then building a retirement plan. They by and large don't do that. They simply give you a plan. So now we come to the last category, and that's me and registered investment advisors. It's important to understand the word registered, because registered means that I have to submit a criteria to the Securities and Exchange Commission about what are my qualifications, what is my experience, and it becomes a matter of public record. So that any potential customer of mine can go to the SEC, to a website, they can pull up my name and my what they call CRD number, and they can find out if I've had any claims or charges or accusations against me in my career about what I've done. Fortunately for me, in 40 years I've had none. But people like Bernie Madoff had more than one. So the idea is that the financial planner has a niche, the broker has a niche. The advisor now says, okay, Kathryn, you said that you want to set aside money for retirement. And we've got to figure out how much income are you going to need in retirement. Once we figured out what that number is, then we can decide what assets, what investments, in what mix present the greatest opportunity for the least amount of risk to achieve the goal. I find in my practice, astonishingly, and as again, mostly men running the money, and the money spread everywhere. I've had clients that have had as many as 17 different accounts. And so when you have 17 different accounts, it's very difficult to assess how much risk you're taking. So my job is to take all 17 account statements and put all the investments in each of those account statements in an asset class category.
And on that note, we need to take another break and give that blog out again, because you give a lot of educational stuff on that blog, don't you?
Right. It's www.moneyinmotblogspot.com.
And on that note, we'll be right back on Born Before 64 with Dan Perkins and Kathryn Raaker. We'll be right back.